Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
This is a casual podcast where we talk about all the things you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize your real life, because really we're all just a bunch of weirdos having a completely human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
And I'm your host, Jess, a gifted spirit baby medium who facilitates deep soul healing by channeling divine messages.
And I'm your other host, Natalie, an intuitive mentor and transformative healer.
Be sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts, watch our 100% unedited episodes on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Instagram at McJaguar and at Intuitively Natalie for more weirdo and woo-woo content.
And if you like this episode, please be sure to rate and review and subscribe and share on your social media and tag us so that more people can unleash their weird with you.
I get a little excited. Well, I'm excited because you're back on social media and I missed you on social media.
Oh, if you're not on YouTube watching this, just like punched her computer.
I did.
Is your knuckle okay?
I do that in sessions too. I just flail around. I should move it back a bit. Yes, I'm glad that you're back on social media, like entertaining me again.
I'm glad too. It was really nice to take that time off. Like, yeah. Oh my God, it felt so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. I think it's necessary to take breaks from that. It's a lot of energy, right? When you kind of go away from it and then you come back onto it, you're just like, whoa,
it's so much.
People and this and that. And so
yeah, it's like that it's all like the sensory input.
Yes.
Maybe I'm neurodivergent. I don't like taps on clothes. I might be.
You know what? Because I think it is a spectrum. I think there might be people who are more neurodivergent than others, but
yeah,
I really think we all are unique. And I think that's what these spectrums are trying to show us. Even like the sexuality spectrums, like all the spectrums, right? It's just like, it's not a black, white, left, right, 1, 2, it's a rainbow.
It is a rainbow.
A rainbow.
We love to see it.
I know, right?
June is Pride Month, so
whoop, whoop. Show your pride.
Yeah, there was also like a period of time as a kid where I like refused to wear jeans for like several years because they're too rough.
I was like, I'm also refusing to wear jeans now.
Well, now it's different.
That's for different reasons. But did you have one of your videos go viral?
I did. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like, I don't really know. The internet isn't very clear on like what's viral and what's not viral, but
yeah,
it did get over 15,000 views last I checked. And then we went to Jenna's Mormon family reunion yesterday.
Okay.
And her grandpa came up to me and was like, I was on Instagram and I saw you on my reels.
What?
I know. And I was like, yeah, I kind of went viral.
Grandpa, what's your tag?
He's a creep. He's a creep on social media.
Oh.
I feel like old people are though. Like they just love. I feel like they love it. Like seeing what everybody's up to, and like the gossip is just handed to them.
It's like the grandma looking out the window. They can just look out any window they want. Just like,
I see you scroll.
Well, I think that's exciting. And I think, you're here to help people who want to have babies in non-traditional ways. You've got the details.
Yeah. And it's like great timing. We also watched Our Father over the weekend. Have you seen it?
Oh my, I started it. I almost vomited in my mouth.
Yeah.
I had to stop it. I was like, I don't know that I can watch this right now.
I was fuming. Like we had to like watch HGTV after to decompress because I was so bad.
I just need to see this room be pretty again.
I just need to watch something inconsequential.
Here's when I paused it and was barfing. And he was like, there's only like 5 siblings or whatever. And then he's like, okay, maybe there's like 10 at the most, maybe 15 at the most, right? And then they did these tests and then there's like 20, 30, however many there are. And so it's just like the blatant lie, like, sir, you're caught.
Such a liar.
Just unload it. Just,
like the DNA is there. Like, I don't know. What are you lying about? You're going to get found out.
Well, and we talked about this, right? When you're going through your process of like, how do we know that May for, this little baby that we're making, like, does it like hook up with one of her siblings somewhere down the road? Right. And you're like, well, there's like this concentrated area and they can only do so many per thing. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
But this
to report pregnancies.
This is like totally fucking up the whole system.
It's gross. It's populate the earth energy. Like I told you, this is why I have a qualm with sperm donorship to begin with. But like he wouldn't, and this is total spoiler alert. Like if you haven't watched it, maybe we're ruining it for you, but like it will just make you angry probably.
Okay.
He wouldn't even have qualified to be a sperm donor because of his pre-existing conditions, like his autoimmune issues. And that is what is so frustrating is like she was saying, the main sibling was saying like that they all have autoimmune issues and they've found 94 so far siblings.
Stop it. Oh my God.
And then at the very end of the documentary, right? And plug your ears if you don't want it to be ruined. They found 44 other fertility specialists who have done this. Oh, I forgot you haven't watched the end. I totally blanked out. I rage blanked it. But yeah, they said at the end that they have found he's the most prolific fertility doctor that has done this, but there have been 44 other that they have found that have used their own sperm on their clients unknowingly. And like, of all, I feel so justified in never ever wanting a male OB. I never want a male lady part provider. Never. You cannot have the empathy. If you were not born with a uterus, you cannot have the empathy. You do not have the understanding. And you can go to all the schooling you want, but I feel like there's a little bit of sickness there if that's the area you want to go into.
The best parts are the reenactments when this lady is like, so he just goes into this other office, wanks himself off, and then gets the little sperm and comes in to do it. Like, ew, on so many levels.
So gross. Like
I'm trying to like ask the spirit babies and my guides, like, what is this about? You know, other than to just kind of like bring attention to the wrongness of it. And it has to be in the high numbers and the level of Netflix documentary
to bring attention.
Yeah, just like basically medical system is falling down, everybody. Okay, let's just, and so like you got to challenge and question everything, right? Like you got to be like,
your own
where did that sperm come from?
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't understand, but I guess it's just a different generation. Like why all of those mothers haven't gotten together in one like class action lawsuit for medical malpractice because that he violated informed consent. That was not informed consent. And like that he can be sued for malpractice. Like why haven't all those mothers come together and sued the shit out of him?
I just feel this deep base layer of shame around needing that. And I would say that a lot of my clients that I work through with the spirit babies, if you're going to do IVF or IUI or any, we call it creative conception, which I just love, or supported conception, you have to believe it and fully be all in there and like gung-ho. If you don't, it's really a waste of your time and money. Right. So I think that generation, like there was just so much expectation to just have babies. Right.
And just like hand over your power to the doctor.
It's not that far away from us. Right. Even people people in our generation still kind of feel this like, you know, motherhood and womanhood is like one and the same. Right. And you're not really a woman if you don't have kids or whatever. So yeah, we're working through that. They're saying to me, okay, that's a weird way to do it, spirit, but okay.
It is a weird way to do it. I feel like, unfortunately, for you to be a good advocate for yourself in the Western medical system, you like have to have some kind of medical literacy already under your belt to even know what to advocate for, know the questions to ask. There needs to be so much more empowerment and information out there about how to be the best advocate for yourself.
Yeah, because even if you advocate, they're showing me, your doctor could still be dismissive, like, oh, you don't need that blood test or you don't need that thing. And you have to be like, again,
you have to stand in
it. Yeah. Like, what are my, you know, and it feels so weird to be like, know your rights, but essentially know your rights.
Know your rights.
With medical professionals, all of them.
Yeah, because they are trained to essentially manipulate you, even though that's maybe a word with a negative connotation, into following the system. That is what they have invested in. They believe in the system. They pay a lot of money to learn the system.
Must be
work for
right.
the system. They have a lot of
Yeah.
identity attached to the system.
Yeah. They're basically like HR, right?
Yeah. And physicians, sometimes physicians, especially, I don't see this as much with nurses, but like when you question advice or a decision from a physician, they get personally offended because they have so much identity wrapped up in their career. So
Yeah,
if you
being
get
right.
some ego backlash from
Yeah.
physicians for standing in your power, that's just them. That's not your stuff. That's their stuff.
We're going to talk about the ego today.
We are going to talk about ego backlash today because
Again,
I love it.
maybe? Again?
Did we talked about it before?
It's got to have come up.
I feel like it's come up, but I don't know if we've like really kind of defined what ego backlash is and stuff.
Oh, dedicated an episode to it.
Yeah.
Okay. What is an ego backlash to you? How do you experience that? How have you seen people experiencing it?
I feel like the best, it's like when you get offended. Like that's the most simple way that I can describe it is when you're offended, that is,
oh, I love that.
Your ego backlashing because you have some kind of personal investment in something.
In the ego keeping your version of what's right or what's truth or what's reality safe versus this alternate thing that you've been shown that has thus offended.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing as what we were going to talk about today as well, cognitive dissonance. It's kind of the same thing, which is when you're presented with information that goes against your conditioning and it makes you angry or upset. That's when you're experiencing cognitive dissonance.
Like when I think about Republicans, for example, that's a cognitive dissonance for me. I just cannot understand. Do not relate.
I feel like we need to unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Could be.
I
don't know if my family listens to this podcast, but a good example of cognitive dissonance. Over the couple weekends ago, my family visited my mom and my brother, and we were like changing the screensaver on our Apple TV, and like up popped this like view of the earth at night from space or whatever. Okay. And I just laughed and I was like, that's not drone footage. It's like, we don't know if the earth is flat or not, because I just like, I don't know. I've never seen it from space. Could be. I'm not personally invested in that or not. And like my brother got so mad, and he'll probably get mad at me for talking about this, but he got so mad at me for even proposing that the earth could be flat. And I was like, okay, they never landed on the moon either, because how in the 60s were they able to live stream from the moon? Like, it makes no sense.
How is there wind on the moon?
Yeah, like how are you able to live stream, but you like barely had color television? It just like it doesn't make sense. Yes, and then and that's really when he got very angry. But that is a good example of cognitive dissonance, because it's an idea that could be expansive, but also could make you question everything you've learned. And so your brain is like angry.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. And it's just, is the anger from this place of like, it's a threat, to me, that like, or to my safety.
To their safety, to their security, to the stories that they've built up or been told to believe in their mind. And it could alter all of that. So it is like a defense mechanism, I feel like.
It's bringing them, they're saying to me, it's bringing them face to face with the illusion.
Correct.
Right? But it's like, it's not to say that the world is round or is flat. That's not really what you're bringing up.
Yeah, that's not the point.
It's just this idea that like, well, we actually don't really look at the proof that we do have. A lot of question marks. They're kind of saying it's like when a lawyer just has to put that little bit of doubt in your mind, and that we can stay open to all the possibilities. If you can stay open to that, whatever, you're shutting down. Mm-hmm. And you're getting into this rigidness, and you're getting into I'm right, and you're not going to hear anything.
Correct.
That's so fascinating to me.
I think that's really been the biggest contributor to polarity in the past few years, like with Trump being president and then going to Biden being president, and just like the switching and like polarity in like far right, far left are like their minds are so slammed shut to the other view. because it creates this cognitive dissonance. Like, well, what would that mean if I opened my mind up and considered that point of view? Well, it would mean there's nobody to hate. It would mean life is a gray
There's no
area.
division.
Yeah. And people get very uncomfortable surviving in a gray area.
Yeah. Like I remember in the beginning of when Trump won, I had some friends that were posting stuff and I couldn't. I had complete cognitive dissonance. I was like, how can you say that? And how can you whatever?
Yeah.
And now coming like full circle, I'm like, and I don't say this to a lot of people, but here I am going to say it on the podcast. Trump was one of the best things that happened to us.
Agreed.
And it's like, people are like, no, and he did all this awful stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yes. And like, look what we fucking learned from that time. Oh my God.
He brought so much to light. So
like,
much
do I wish that
so
all the
much that was
shitty stuff
hidden.
didn't happen? Of course I do. And
yeah,
I know that we were at a point in our, they say, existence where we had to look at that. Like for me, it was like, okay, so racism is just boiling, and Black people have been telling us this their entire lifetime, and here we are in the little white lilies being like, give peace a chance, and you're all fixed, racism is fine, and then it's like boom, explosion, so it's just like these realities are coming in, and I mean, I wish we could have learned it a different way, I'll say that, but in the beginning I wanted him dead. I was just like, this guy is awful, and then I was like, I can't wish that on a person.
No, he was such an agitator, like such an agitator for everybody. And
yeah,
I am pleased with the way that it all turned out. Like, as weird as that sounds, but like it held space for so many important conversations to be had. It allowed people's hatred and stuff that maybe they kept in the shadows during Obama's presidency to come to the surface, so you could see how people actually felt about things.
Yeah.
Like it's no longer hidden because he made it an acceptable place to express that.
Yeah.
And you can't deal with something that you're not able to bring to the surface.
Yeah. So let's deal with it, people.
Let's just deal with it. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of sending him love and light, and I did a lot of just, but also like, I mean, did I participate with the witches and a hex on him? Heck yeah, I did. I did not want him back in. I did not want him back in power, but I definitely was like, thank you. For 4 years is plenty. We've learned our lesson.
That was good.
We don't need any more of that. Thank you very much. And then we'll continue with the hex work and keep you out of office. But that was a big one for me.
I know. And
he would offend me daily.
I get that. I really get that. I also think how even if he had, I don't like, even though he's not in office right now, stuff is still coming up with the Supreme Court, obviously, like Roe v. Wade.
OMG.
And like the amount of people who have come up to me or Jenna and been like, don't you think gay marriage is next? And I'm like, you're still feeding a fear agenda. I can still choose to be with Jenna, whether or not they overturn. That's like, yeah, it's more paperwork. Are we probably going to go through the adoption process for this kid for Jenna? Probably. Better safe than sorry. But I'm not like still feeding into that polarized fear agenda. Like they're gonna overturn gay marriage too. Could they? Sure. But I still love and am committed to Jenna. I don't know.
Yeah. That offends me. And here's where it comes down, like just the audacity that this is still in our ether, that we're still dealing with this. And I think what's crazy is that, when you watch social media now, it's so fun because then they put up all these like little posts and quotes and everything, and all these little comparisons, and guys should have their dicks checked and all this stupid stuff up there. You know what I mean? It's like all this kind of stuff. And if they really cared about babies, and it's just so cute because I want to be like, okay, so that's not what this is about. It's about control and power over women. Baseline, like all the other stuff and kids, whatever, health, all that kind of stuff. Blah. It's control, and it's specifically over us, because the divine feminine is rising. I've talked about that for a long time. This is why I asked them. I was like, "Why the fuck is this coming up again?" They're like, "Divine feminine challenge." And I was like, "Okay." I'm really curious to see though, like how this all trickles down and what the spirit babies will have to say about this, and all these stupid states passing stupid laws right now fuck you, Ohio, and fuck you, Indiana, and all those dumb other states, Georgia, Texas, whatever else you guys are doing.
I know.
It's dumb. It's dumb. So if you live in one of those states, I'm sorry. And, we're going to fix it.
Yeah. It's like, it has to come to light to be able to be fixed.
Yeah. We have to look at, this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like some states don't even want you to have rights if you've been raped.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Like what? That's me being cognitively dissonant to this idea, because I've invested in it for the future of my work, the future of the souls coming in. Like that's why I'm so invested in it. So, but am I still wrong with my cognitive dissonance? You know what I mean? Like, is it a bad thing?
Well, there is no such thing as good and bad. Depends on how you use it. Yeah. No such thing.
Is it unhelpful for me?
How are you using it? Like, are you using that fear or anger to create more division and polarity, or is it motivating you to find like solutions?
Option B.
Okay. Well, then I think it's fine.
Okay. So sometimes an eco backlash or cognitive dissonance can be helpful if you can recognize it and then find out what it is that's irritating you, getting under your skin, and then doing something about it.
Yeah. I feel like you're more triggered, more so than having like an ego backlash or cognitive dissonance. Like, I don't think you're being presented with information that challenges your worldview.
True.
Which is what would spark cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that before I did my spiritual work, it would have. And that's the same thing. That's like kind of like being a Republican, because I remember a time in my life where I was like, I just don't understand how people can think this way. Like, I just don't understand. And now I understand why they're doing this. I understand their agenda. I understand that. I don't like it. But before I was like, does not compute. Now that I have this expanded empathy, I can see it. And I know where they're coming from. And I'm coming for you. Watch out, everybody.
I think a lot of the growth that I personally have gone through in the past couple of years because I also like vehemently hated Trump. Yeah. Like when he got, like, it was a sad day when he was elected.
Oh my God.
We were very sad, but going through all of that and like navigating that polarity and like creating so much division in our families, when like all we really like, at the end of the day, we just want to have a relationship with each other. So how can we be so divided? Where's the middle ground? Like navigating all of those like shadowy waters that we had to, because all those issues were at the forefront of our awareness. I've just been able to, like, when presented with new challenges like this Roe v. Wade, instead of immediately getting angry and thinking everything is being stripped away and out of my control, my mind automatically is going to, okay, so what are the things that are in my control? Well, I can monitor my cycle. I can be, hyper vigilant about birth control efforts and methods if I were in, that situation. Yeah. Like there are just other things that are so in your control. It's not like abortion was the end all be all for everybody. There are certain cases, but you still have that some level of control that really, like, the government can't take it away. Like their control is arbitrary.
Yeah. And then you can
have control.
Yeah. you can vote, you can, like get people out there to vote. You can donate money to places like Planned Parenthood and other places that are going to be supportive. Like, here's the thing. You can move. We will find a way.
Exactly.
Like we always will. What people are concerned about, right, is like, it's that access to safe abortions, right? And there's so much in that, but I believe that we will find a way to make it safe again, healthy again. And, again, I've been in a lot of prayer requests and work to understand what this is going to bring for me, for the spirit baby, for this understanding of abortion. And I've been thinking a lot about doing a channeling and talking about it because it is so hot right now. And I really want people to understand like the importance of having safe, legal abortions for conception overall.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be cool.
People.
It'd be interesting to see what comes through on that.
I know. Well, there's already lots coming through, but they want me to do like a little thing and put myself out there, which is scary for me because it's such a like controversial topic, but it's a different perspective and I want to provide that. So that's kind of what Working on getting the courage up to do.
Yeah, give people a little bit of their power back. Like the government does not have your power unless you give it to them, guys.
Snatch it back.
Get it back. You are sovereign. Get it back.
And also let's riot. No. Okay. So I want to talk about the ego a little bit too,
Yeah.
which is a really cool thing, right? So have you done like an ego death? I'm assuming yes.
I mean, yeah, I have a friend whose ego deaths are physical.
Oh, what does that mean?
She almost drowned in a river. Like,
well, like she'll have like near life
like
death, whatever.
Yeah. I don't personally have those. It's more of just like a grief or like a big release, and then I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. So when I had my ego death, right, which maybe sometimes accompanies your dark night of the soul, you never know. And they like to buddy up and have fun. I was like, great, it's dead. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
What I learned today when I was channeling was that as you expand and you grow and you open up, your ego also matches that.
Mm-hmm.
So you would need your ego. It keeps you alive. It prevents you from doing stupid things, basically. But it's more that it gets unchecked, right? And as we learn more about ourselves, we can kind of put it in check. And so as you expand, what I learned was your ego also gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then that's why some of those spiritual teachers are like, I'm so spiritual. And that's why I hate them. They annoy me. And I finally figured it out. It's because they've expanded their consciousness, but they haven't checked their expanded ego.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about the feathers and the tattoos and the sparkly lights, people.
I mean, we love them.
It's
not about that.
That's not spirituality. That's not what it is. Now you live on this island and you can do whatever you want and frolic around. That's not it, honey. That's not it. It's the expandedness of your consciousness. And what happens is then our ego is like, well, what does that look like? We got to show people that we're expanded. We got to put feathers in our hair now and dance around and wear these flowy dresses. And, then people will know we are expanded. We are enlightened,
Yeah.
That's the ego. And so I was like, oh, so it's how do we also then put that in check, right? As we grow and expand. So something to think about.
That is interesting. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It has to.
I'm always wanting to get rid of everything. I'm always like, can this be done? Can I be healed with it? And Spirit's just been like, it's never going away. It's going to transform. It's not going to be as loud. It could be quiet and dormant, but it's not going away. And the more we can stop wishing things away and wishing things to be done, even when you complete stuff, it's like, oh God, they're showing me funny images. Like, how many of you like kept your old college textbooks and notebooks from school like way longer than you needed to? It's kind of like that. It's like, take the lesson, but like recycle the binders, recycle the books.
Right.
You're never going to crack that biology book again.
No.
Yeah. So like, let things go, but like keep the lessons, keep the memory, remember or keep the essence of what that was. Otherwise you'll have to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you kind of wish or pray things away, like don't be surprised if they come back in a different form, because it's not about getting rid of, it's about full acceptance. That's hard for the ego, man.
It can be.
It can be.
It can be.
Natalie's ego is like so flex. It's so chill.
It had to go through a lot of dying.
You're like, hey, ego. Your ego's like, what's up? Oh yeah, I'll chill out. Sure. Sorry. My bad. Was I getting pushy?
I have a better relationship with my ego now. I just don't like your ego is your personal investment into things.
Yeah.
And like so much has happened in the past few years. I'm just like not personally invested in much.
You're just like, I'm chill. I'm curious what our listeners think about their ego, though, and the cognitive dissonance. So, like, let us know. Are you having ego backlashes and ego deaths? And what have they been like for you? And I don't know. I remember one of my ego deaths was just, it was kind of sad and depressive. It was this sort of like bubble popping kind of, oh, it's not like that. Oh, it is different. And sometimes that takes a little bit of adjusting.
It can
integrating.
be uncomfortable. Yeah. And
it can.
It can be. You may also get ego backlash when somebody else gets cognitive dissonance to something you're saying to them.
Ooh. Oh, like you're trying to tell them the truth, the light, the hope,
truth
and they're just
in
like,
quotations. Yeah. Because what is the truth? Everybody's truth is different.
Your truth. And
Your
then
truth.
they're like,
it's not received. They're like, absolutely not. That doesn't exist. That's not real. Like, that is cognitive dissonance. They are not there yet, or nor will they ever get there. It's like when you're talking to like closed off family members or people who don't want to have those conversations, like they are not ready to face those other expanded realities. And if you're getting an ego backlash from it, if you're getting offended because they are not validating your truth, that's something to look at within yourself.
were you fine then when your brother was having his cognitive dissonance?
I was laughing. He was cussing.
Maybe don't laugh.
Well, I can't help it. I'm like, I don't know, could be. Like, I don't know. Could the earth be flat? It could be. I've never seen it from space. How can I say for sure, hard and fast? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't have a personal investment in that, but he was very much like angry.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was doing work around the vaccine, right?
Oh yeah, another hot
I think a lot that was another cognitive dissonance for a lot of people, and even for me to experience it. And it was this kind of place of like the impact that I got from people who like wanted me to get that vaccine or who were pro-vaccine, when I would kind of, kind of give some like alternate opinions or alternate thoughts or kind of sharing where I was on that journey. They were kind of like, are you out of touch with reality? Are you out of touch with science? Like, and that was a lot of this. Yeah, I'm like being like really pushed down on this, like, well, this authority and that authority and therefore, and it's like,
what about your inner authority?
There's so many other ways to operate in life than following these authorities. And I think that challenge is like, well, if science isn't right, then we're fucked. Well, we're fucked, because science might not be right, people.
Science is literally all hypothetical. It's called the theory of gravity because it cannot be proven. Science creates theories, not firm answers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we have based so much on that. And so I think that really like kind of rocked people, right? They want to believe in the CDC and the WHO and our president and all this kind of stuff. You want to, but it's like, maybe is that the best idea? Maybe not. And that's why that's part of COVID's work with the vaccine and everything, as well as empathy towards others, as well as understanding all the different populations. I mean, so much that virus did so much work and is continuing to do that work. But that for me was the big thing of like, oh, there's that kind of in between space where it's like, what do I trust? And how do I know that I trust that? And I had to go on that journey to be like, how do I make decisions? What are my decisions about my body and my life grounded in and rooted in? And the spirit babies always tell me that, especially when you go see doctors, that's a very external source, right? And yes, science, doctors, medical, but it's like most stuff is based on white men.
Yes.
Most
they don't even test medications on women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just, even in, maybe they test them a bit more in the pregnancy realm, but who knows? I mean, are these drugs used on men and other people?
Most
progesterone, do they give it to like men?
Most pharmaceutical studies are done on men. So these reactions and stuff that you see on commercials for all of these pills is just an indicator of how it reacted in male control groups. They don't account for all of the female, the 28-day hormone fluctuation. So that's why women have such wildly different reactions to medications, is because they are not tested. Yes.
We're always changing.
Yeah.
So yes, be your own advocate. Confirm how you know things to be true for you. Big quotes there. And allow others to have their own process. And that's kind of what Spirit has been showing me. They're like, we're just a bunch of individual souls, all of the same energy source, kind of bump. And the point is, we're supposed to bump into one another with our oppositions, our dissonance, our ego backlashes. Like, this is supposed to happen, right? Like, they're kind of saying, like, if it didn't, you'd just be back in source.
Yeah, we're not here
like,
alone.
Like, we're done. So, like, notice the interactions, notice the rubs. And these are things coming up for you to work through. Like, so much lately, I've just been thinking of my life as like an adventure. Like, instead of like having to get to the perfect ending or having to get a certain way, I'm just like, it's just going to be an adventure. Let's just see what happens. What if I just detach from all the outcomes and operate in a different way?
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of this pregnancy journey has just been about like detaching and detaching more and detach some more. And look, here's more stuff to detach from. Like
over here.
Yeah, over here, there too. Look over there. I like the only way to get through this pregnancy sane is the only thing that I can like revert to or trust or put a lot of stock into is my capacity to handle whatever happens. It's not whatever happens. It's not like getting a certain outcome or going through things in a certain way. It's just having that mental strength to understand that I have the capacity to go through whatever it is.
100. Like my guides have just been like, you want to work on something, work on that. Work on developing the ability to handle anything. And I was like, oh.
Because you can't handle anything. You can't control anything.
You do not know who's going to bump into you next.
No.
You do not know. And so the more that you can just be like, instead of when somebody bumps into you, be like, what the fuck, dude? Just be like, oh, excuse me, or oh, watch out there, you know, or oh, do you need some help? Like, it's just your reaction to what's happening. And the more that you can get into that place of ease for yourself, the more you'll be able to deal with the stuff. Even the stuff that's happening with all this horrible school shootings and everything like that. If you are in a place, you can take action. You know, you can do something about it. You can talk about it. You can comfort. You can come to this place versus being subsumed by the grief and the fear and what does this mean for our country? You know, like I did a lot of prayer work with those little souls and I thanked them. I said, thank you for your sacrifice. You know, like, sorry that you had to do this yet again. But hopefully we can get something going this time. And I think there is a bill being worked on right now.
There has been a bill. It's been the filibuster or whatever.
Like 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, there has been a bill.
It's just time. Come on.
It is time. We're done. We're over. Nobody needs an automated weapon.
No.
Nobody needs an automated weapon. You can't even eat food that's shot with an automated weapon. Nobody needs it.
Oh, really? Why not? Because it's like because it destroys the stuff.
Yes, on impact. What is it? Normal gunshot wounds, whatever. It's just one hole, one entry, one exit typically.
Gotcha.
Automated weapons go with such force that it creates a diameter of 6 inches of damage around entry and exit. So you're obliterating whatever you're shooting.
I mean, part of me wanted to like channel the founding fathers on that decision. Part of me wants to like really like, okay, like how can I use my abilities to be like, y'all keep talking about the Bible, y'all keep talking about the
right to bear arms, right?
Whatever it is, like let's go back to that time period and let's channel people. Like I'm here for it. Like whatever we need to do to clear this energy so people can get an answer, because we've just been passing on this story that is just so not true anymore. And I think that's part of it. It's like, can we stop telling lies now? Can we? This younger generation they're just like arms crossed, like you guys are lying.
They're hilarious.
So I know, I love them.
Thank you, Gen Z. Thanks, Gen Z. You guys are so funny.
You're no bullshit. Don't put up with it. Can't get anything by you. Sorry, mad that we fucked up everything for you.
And they like unapologetically feel their feelings.
Yeah, they do. I love them.
I know. Yay. Oh, another thing about this pregnancy that I wanted to give an update on. I had said, I don't know, in like the last couple episodes or whatever, that I was super depressed in the first trimester, and I like started counseling and that went well. I think I'm done with that it feels complete, that counseling journey. But like all of this grief that came up and I didn't understand and why it was happening. And I'm not somebody who like takes that stuff and just accepts it as reality, which is why I was so angry. Like I was angry and sad. Like, why is this happening? I don't understand. So then I got in counseling and like found a chiropractor and like have all of these like support people around me now, which has helped so much. But then the last episode we spoke with Lindsay Diamond. I have worked with her several times, and I had reached out to her prior to us recording for this stuff that I had been going through in the first trimester of pregnancy, because I just knew there was something there that I couldn't reach, that I couldn't see. And I know I said this to you, but I don't think I said this on the podcast, how when I went in my records, what?
Can you hear the horn blowers? Sorry.
I hear the horn blowers.
Okay. But you went into your records.
When I went into my records and I was like asking like why this is so challenging, why this is so difficult. And they were basically saying like you only had a 20% chance of choosing a path that involved motherhood and children. And this was like in the beginning of me feeling like shit. And then having this session with Lindsay she was able to see that she confirmed that was true. She said, like, there was a very slight chance of you becoming a mother in this life. And she saw all of this like grief and loss and like stuff that I just consciously couldn't touch because I guess it was so painful or so emotional. And she was able to go in and actually see these things and help shift and heal around it. She was like, you're showing me this one life where you literally had like a baby cut out of you and taken away. But there were like lives on lives on lives of like loss of children, lots of issues around childbirth or childbearing, just like so much there that I had this like imprint of a dead baby in my energy. That was just like causing,
just happen.
Yeah, it was just like causing all of this grief. And I don't know if it was like a collective or a personal imprint or both, because so many of the people that I've talked to recently also felt really depressed in their first trimester. And they're like, oh, it's just a normal part of it. I'm like, A-Evolve, nobody tells you that. B-Evolve, that's not normal. Like,
yeah, feeling depressed is not
like,
normal.
why are we settling? Why are we normalizing that? Yeah, let's figure it out. There are ways to figure it out, but I feel so much better. Like, after having that session, like the physical stuff that I'd been experiencing, because I think the grief was manifesting in a physical manner too, like, and with all the digestive issues I had, that was like the biggest problem. That makes sense, because like solar plexus energy, like I couldn't digest what was happening, so it was showing up in the physical.
You're like, I am pregnant, oh shit.
Right. And it's been so much better since that session with Lindsay. So I say that, like, you have resources. If you're a healer yourself and you like just can't reach something, or you don't understand why you're feeling a certain way, like reach out to someone else, because they don't have that personal investment. They'll be able to go to that depth for you. Like, I will be happy to hold that space for you in sessions, because I can see it so clearly for other people. But for myself, I needed somebody else to go in there.
Well, and I really love, because I mean, so much of your early days of your pregnancy, we were like, what about this? And oh, the sperm and this and that. And it's just like, as you're saying this, I'm really, and you're always the trumpet you blow is, we don't have to suffer. That's what I always think about. You're like, we don't have to suffer.
You don't have to suffer.
But like, you know, with your background and everything, and being pregnant yourself and going through this experience of like really just reminding people that if you're feeling yucky in that first trimester, like, and it's not, you can't figure it out physically, like, you know, you've done as much as you can in the physical, go into those other layers, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, work with somebody that can help clear out old imprints of shit. Like, I think this is important for people to know, like, your past lives and your past experiences are within you. Your lineage work from your mother and your father and all that is within you. Like, it's there, people. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
if unchecked, it's going to come out. Yeah.
If you can't figure it out, or you want to know why, like, and you can't figure out in this lifetime, you can't pinpoint it, and likely there's something that happened in this lifetime that might echo it, or might have like opened it up for you to work with again. But yeah, check your past lives.
Especially if it's unhealed, like, you're going to experience some kind of a similar situation that triggers that intense reaction. If the reaction doesn't match the crime, it's probably associated with a past life.
It's so true. It's like, you might be a redneck. It might be a past life if. Especially what they wanted me to tell you about this too, not you specifically, Natalie, but just the general you, is a lot of stuff will happen around times, like specific dates, specific anniversaries of things, specific like winter, summer, spring, fall, like seasonal things. So if you get sick every time, or if something happens, or whatever it is, like, start to pay attention to that. And then they're also kind of saying, like, look at the areas in your body where you feel the aches and pains, and that is a map to the chakra, or the cause of where it might have come from before, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what my guys are saying is, people, they're so funny. They're like, people don't, how do we say this? Okay, so I guess people can really kind of see a physical ailment get better over time, right? Like, you break a bone, it gets fixed. You have a cold sore, it goes away, whatever it is, right? Like, you can have a burn, and, you know, gets better when you treat it, right? Sometimes when you go see like energy healers, Reiki healers, or whatever, you might like not notice it instantaneously, or you work with somebody like Natalie, but like over time, you might see it instantaneously, but like, it's maybe a more subtle approach to healing, or it will impact you in a way.
It is.
yeah, it'll impact you in a way that will then allow the physical to be in, quickly or move quicker. So that's the other thing they're saying is like, don't compare physical healing to emotional, mental, or spiritual healing. Like each one has their own requirements or ways that they work.
And physical's the last layer.
Totally. Like, physical is like alarm.
Yeah. If it shows up in the physical, you done fucked up. Something's not right.
We still love you, even though you fucked up. It's okay, human. But let's get our shit together, okay?
Yeah, and like, can we just stop settling? Can we stop normalizing settling for uncomfortable and terrible things? Let's just stop doing that. One of the most profound TikToks I ever watched was this guy who had a near-death experience, and he I don't know if he fell off his bike or got hit by a car, unimportant. But he passed out, and while he was down, he woke up in the year 3000 something or whatever, and could see everything so differently, and past all of this stuff. And then when he woke back up in the present, he was looking at apartment buildings and looking at everybody around him, and he was like, we're still choosing this.
Oh, that's so
we are all it's gonna keep happening if we keep choosing it.
Okay, speaking of TikTok and internet rabbit holes, I'm back on the internet rabbit holes of time travelers.
Yeah, I feel like I can't always trust those though.
Why?
Some of them are liars, some of them are actors.
That's true. Especially on TikTok or Twitter, people are doing little stories and have multiple accounts and stuff, which, hey, that's kind of cool and creative, way to use the media for that. But lately I have just experienced what I would just call warps in time.
Yeah.
And I almost called you. I was telling you this because I was driving, and we had talked about this before, and we're like, are we going to notice it? Are we all going to be on this other planet, disembodied,
with the flash? Yeah.
Yeah, the flash, everything. What's it going to be like? And it was really this just warp feeling of it's not going to be dramatic like we think, like a movie, right? It's going to be oh, now we're here. Oh, now we're there. It's very, very subtle, but it just felt slightly different. And time has felt so different since I came back from the Camino Trail. Days don't matter, time doesn't matter, hours doesn't matter, none of it really, really matters. I mean, I know it does for some things, but if we can fixate less on that,
timing
of things, and just be more in the being of things. But it just kind of tripped me out. And then there was a car in front of me that had this bumper sticker that said University of Mars, which I looked up, and it's all about people wanting to inhabit life on Mars and get us ready to move into outer space, which you and I have talked about a lot. And I was just oh, okay. So there's this weird energy around that. And I think it's just, I don't know. It wasn't, it didn't feel unsettling. It just kind of felt like on a roller coaster where you're I know this is kind of scary, but I'm also signed up for it. And I'm totally aware that I'm going to be on a roller coaster, but I'm kind of going on this ride for that thrill of that's kind of what it feels like. You're in for it, you're ready for it. But I don't know. What do you think about time and time warps? And
I think it's felt pretty shifty lately.
Yeah.
Time.
It's also an eclipse season. I think some things are moving around, some portals are moving around. Yeah, see, she's moving energy around that. Thank you. Yeah, because it was big. It was kind of, and it was and I did feel a little crazy. I was that's probably why I didn't call you. Because I was I mean, although you're the only person I could probably call about this, but I was is this, I kind of had to sit with it. That's kind of what I did. I was is this real? What's going on about this? But the more I sat and thought about it, I was that's kind of what it felt like. They were it's going to be subtle. It's going to be subtle. And that everybody will receive some sort of, who's on the planet, will receive some sort of shift.
Right.
And a lot of people will exit before the shift.
That's kind of the vibe I got from the shooting, actually. It was just another exit point, an optional exit point. Because my friend and I, we talk about this. We talked about this on the podcast before, is murder contracted or not? And as she was asking me that, she was what do you get from this shooting? Was that contracted? Did they choose this? And I went up mentally, energetically, and asked, and like one of the teachers stepped forward, because I feel like they're just like a safeguard for the kids, like as like a voice for the collective for the kids.
Yeah.
But like one of the teachers that passed stepped forward, and they were like, it wasn't a definite, but it was a possibility, and they knew that signing up, like because it was all contingent on the decision that the shooter made.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a
Yeah.
definite, but it was a possibility for their contract.
Yeah. So when you kind of, I see this a lot with spirit babies, and it just looks like a form, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like IVF, natural, adoption. You like, some people like check them off. Like, I don't care how the baby comes in.
Yeah.
I'll take them off. Some people are like, well, my number one priority is natural, and they maybe they didn't check IVF, or they have like a hesitation with IVF. And so it's like, you know, my preference is this, but if that can't work, then I can default to this. So then I can feel into their energy and be like, okay, so if natural conception maybe isn't going to work anymore, it's time to go to option 2 and to rally yourself around the energy that you also can welcome in these babies in the IVF way, right? Because a lot of people get really caught up in that, like it's not natural. And it is, you guys. It's scientifically supported, but it's still very natural egg and a very natural sperm until they can make those up in a lab. And we can talk about unnatural.
I like kind of hope that they don't. I kind of hope that like that doesn't happen. Like, why are we messing with something?
Let's not mess with that, people.
Oh, let's just not mess with that. I feel like I don't know what it would create. Issues.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
And, yeah, exactly. And you always have chances and opportunities to make these choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he made that choice to do that day.
Correct.
People can be mad about the school and the cops' response and whatever else. That's the
correct.
But seriously, there's like, I always have empathy for both sides of that, of anything like this. Like, oh my God, imagine the state of pain that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes me so sad sometimes to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so hopeful that hopefully we can, as a country, enact something to protect us. Like,
that creates change. Yeah. Obviously, this is highlighting a problem.
It's so many other countries are like, look, we did this, and look, there's not any killings. Like, imagine that.
Weird.
Yeah. It's like, no, this really can stop a majority of this. So we have more school shootings than days lived in the year this year.
Yeah, I know.
Ridiculous.
It's disgusting.
And these are these stats, these numbers, the kids, that level my guys are saying is to bring it to our attention.
It's the shock value. It needs to be shocking to create that change, unfortunately.
Even the reminder, they're saying to me, the reminder of Sandy Hook is like, oh, so we haven't learned since Sandy Hook? Yes, off your asses, off your laurels, people. Let's go.
Right. Change didn't happen after Sandy Hook, so this had to happen again.
It's unfortunate, but it's like, it's the energy space that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry, these little souls will come back.
Correct.
And the grieving parents will do their work. Like, we're not saying like it's all okay because of this bigger cause kind of a thing. There's still very real things on the earth that are so sad and so hard to deal with. And those who are still here, the healing that they will need to be supported. But in the grand scheme of things, these little souls helped hopefully make great change.
Yeah. We hope.
Yeah.
Heavy.
That energy is so heavy for me to talk. I know. I'm like,
it's such a heavy energy.
So sad.
There's just so much like collective awareness of it right now that it's a very dense, like heavy energy to tap into.
It is. It is.
Oh gosh. On a lighter note, it's Gemini season.
Okay. Yes. Let's lighten it up.
Let's lighten it up.
Our flirty Geminis.
Yeah.
Who's a Gemini in this house?
I'm a Gemini. Jenna's a Gemini.
Yay!
Yeah, I love Geminis.
Do you have anything else in Gemini besides your sun?
Yeah. It's like Sun and Mercury. So like Mercury retrograde, obviously going in through Gemini has got me fucked up. It's like going through where it is.
It's the equivalent of taking a bunch of shots at the club. Got me fucked up.
Oh, I just had to like, my computer hasn't been working, I've had to take extra time traveling, not making plans, just understanding that like delays are going to happen, especially since Mercury's in Gemini and my natal Mercury is in Gemini. So just being conscious of it has been helping a lot.
I just noticed as soon as, even before, like even like the week before, I always find this the week before the season or the astrological sign, like that sign's like, it's almost my time. And you start to like feel them. I have like 10,000 social appointments in Gemini. And I'm really not feeling that social. I'm really feeling hermity. And my guides are just like, this is the time to be social, though. This is a good time to collaborate and meet people and talk. And I was like, I don't really want to. Like, it's a really good time.
It's a really good time.
People are chatty and they're in this vibe. And so I was like, okay, all right. I'm going to wisely pick who I want to associate with. But I have my mid-heaven in Gemini.
Your MC to career angle,
my
right?
MC.
Yeah.
But there's no planets in my 10th house. There's no challenges to my career. This is what I'm supposed to do, is to talk and hang out and communicate and express. And the fact that I'm doing it with another Gemini makes a lot of sense. I don't know that I can do it with any other sign. But I kind of sometimes feel like a Gemini when I do this work. I don't really feel like I think my Aquarius comes in. My Aries is really my own personal shit work that I'm doing here to figure out what the fuck I am. I'm just like, identity.
Yeah.
But the Aquarius part, the Virgo part, because that's kind of close, right? That all comes into play. And it's a very comfortable place. Like my career, I'm very comfortable in what I do. My other life, hot fucking mess. Ugh. But my career and what I'm here to do, for the most part, it's smooth sailing.
Yeah. Look what area of your chart Gemini is ruling over, and then you'll see what might be coming up for you during this Gemini season, because we just had the new moon also yesterday. Okay, so this episode is coming out next Monday. I don't know what day that is. The 6th?
The 6th of June.
Yeah, the 6th.
You'll be full in your Gemini-ness.
Yes. And then my birthday is the 15th. And then
please send money and donations and
actually
candy.
If you're on my email list, I was considering sending out like a birthday thing, like a surprise.
Ooh.
So be on the lookout for that in case it happens. I'm like 90% sure. Mercury's still retrograde. I can't make any firm plans, but I'm like,
I can't send my email
sure.
till after it's done. I'm the same way.
Yeah. We're like 90% sure that I'm going to offer something on my birthday for that day only. So keep an eye out for that.
Which is what, June 15th?
June 15th.
Okay. Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. And then the next episode that we have coming out on the 20th, we actually already recorded, and it is with my Akashic mentor, Sherry Mosley. And she,
holy cow,
takes us to another planet.
Holy cow.
Entirely.
Do not listen to it while you are driving.
Please don't.
Make sure you're grounded. Grab some crystals.
Yes, because she channels
so fun
12th dimensional beings, and like they come in and do this healing. Like it's just crazy. And you'll get a little taste of what it's like to work with her, because that's not out of the norm for working with Sherry.
Yeah. And same thing with Lindsay too, just like sharing these other healers, and even Sarah, right? Just like getting the experience of other people that are here to help. And I think you said that in Sarah's episode, like, we're here to help. Like, this is what Natalie and I have signed up for. So if you have questions for us or want to know things, like, let us know. Like, we do not want you to be suffering, whether it's on your spiritual journey, your intuitive development journey, your business journey, your baby journey, like whatever.
Yeah. If you look for support out there, you will find it. And we love to offer up all of these options for you to like, go get support.
My guys want me to mention what I'm working on, because they're like, oh, you finally have something to share, because Natalie's always making cool stuff. But I talked about this. Where did I talk about this? I think I talked about this in a story just briefly, but I'm putting together the ability to teach you how to connect and channel with your spirit babies. That's coming out in October. So I have June, July, and August to work on that. September to kind of launch it and put it out there. But I am like booking almost 2 months out. There's only so many one-on-one sessions I can do. And there's only so much I want to raise my prices, right? I don't want to be like astronomical, because I want to make this work affordable and, supportive, especially because I know a lot of people on this journey are already paying for acupuncturists and sperm and donors and therapists and all kinds of stuff, right? So I want to be, equitable in that sense. And so I just want to teach you guys how to do this yourself. And this is going to work whether you're trying to conceive, And also if you have they said an earthling, you have an earthling, if you have an earth baby, and you're like, why are they colicky, or why are they acting like this, or what's going on? Because just like we talked about before we started recording, like we are going to be much more intuitive with our kids once they're here. That is the great power that will help us from the suffering as young mothers, or not young mothers, but like mothers in the early days, like the young part of your motherhood, I guess what they're showing me. The early days when you can't really like talk to your babies kind of a thing. This is going to help with all of that. It's going to help ease the suffering. So you know why they're crying or what's annoying them. You're gonna be able to tap in, and they're gonna be able to tell you. Because this is how I talk to them. So I'm gonna teach you how to do that. So that's what we're working on.
Love
Wish
it.
me luck.
It's gonna be great.
I love talking to the toddlers and the babies right now.
They're so funny.
So cool. So that's what I'm working on. Sorry, that was my guide. You're like, okay, you're done.
Yeah, we love that.
Back to me.
And you'll be doing more updates as it gets closer or whatever.
Yes.
More details
I'm just
to
putting
come.
it out there so that you guys bug me about it and I make it.
Yes, because her accountability style is external through other people.
Yeah.
Mine is lawless.
Are you like the rebellion?
Yeah, mine's lawless. I don't know. I can't even stay accountable to myself.
It's like no accountability is your accountability.
Correct.
If somebody tries to make you accountable, you're like, I'll show you.
Right.
I'm not even going to do it now.
I will decide if I'm accountable or not. Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I have to tell a friend, like, do you want to go for a walk? So then my ass goes for a walk.
Right.
You know?
Keeps you
because I have to like meet them. And I used to think that was like bad.
Not bad.
And then I was like a sucker. And then I learned that there's different styles, and I felt so much better. So like the more I learned about myself through all this seeking, it just helps me understand myself, and it makes me less judgmental of myself. You know?
Nothing is bad.
Nothing is bad.
It
just is.
It just is. Yeah.
Okay.
You decide if it's good or bad.
Okay. But like if I eat something that's gross, I can say it's bad. Like my cold coffee is bad.
It's just not aligned with you at this moment. Oh, okay. Well, that's what we've got coming up. Lots of fun stuff. Look out for Sherry's episode on the 20th. And then we are going to do a live Q&A at some point after that, because the last one was so good. I think that actually our last live Q&A has like one of the most listens from last season.
This is where everybody will get to come on the Zoom call with us.
Yeah, and ask questions live, and we'll answer them, and it'll be so fun.
I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to that.
I know, I'm excited.
We'll get a date soon, because that sounds like fun.
Yes, we will, after Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
All right. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.